What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds, and in today's video we're going to do another NBA PrizePicks board breakdown for January 23rd. It's just before noon here on the East Coast, so just keep in mind that the projections you see in today's video could change and usually do throughout the day and night. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. On Out of Bounds we cover everything from daily fantasy sports to all the hottest off-the-field sports stories. I like to throw occasional off the field story in there for you guys. So if that's the sort of thing that you're into, sports, and more sports, well, this is the channel for you. Definitely hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. Likes are appreciated, comments are loved, and if you share it, that's just the icing on the cake. I appreciate all that you guys have done, and we are continuing to grow. We're well over 200 subscribers, so thank you again for all the support. But without further ado, we've got a medium-sized NBA slate to talk about tonight, so we will get started with the injury news as usual. Karl Anthony Towns is considered doubtful tonight due to COVID protocol. Jimmy Butler, doubtful, COVID protocol. LeBron James, questionable with the ankle, as he has been for the past, I don't know how many games now. Wendell Carter, doubtful with a thigh. Christian Wood, doubtful with an ankle. John Wall, out with a knee. Kristaps Porzingis, questionable due to rest on a back-to-back. Victor Oladipo, questionable due to rest on a back-to-back. Joel Embiid, doubtful due to rest on a back-to-back. Devin Booker, doubtful with a hamstring. He tweaked his hamstring late in last night's game. If you guys were following along, that Phoenix and Denver game, I think it was. Yeah, it ended up going to overtime, and I guess he tweaked his hamstring. Tyler Herro out due to neck. Jason Richardson out due to COVID protocol. Blake Griffin doubtful due to rest. And the rest of these guys aren't really that important. I just wanted to touch on the most important ones. So without further ado, we will be using Roto Grinders today. They're preloaded with FanDuel projections. FanDuel, same projections as PrizePicks as far as scoring goes for fantasy sports. So let's talk Joel Embiid first and foremost here. He's the number one guy on the board. 49 is his projection. Let's see where they like Mr. Embiid across the industry tonight, if he plays, that is. They don't have a projection for Embiid, so I'm guessing that they are assuming he won't play tonight. So no Embiid. We'll skip over him. Let's talk Jeremy Grant then. Jeremy Grant. There's Jeremy Grant. He's projected for 37 points. And guys, if you've been tuning in lately, we know that with Jeremy Grant, most nights we like clicking the over, at least recent games. He's been going over more often than not. But let's look at the game logs and see. 38.1 in his last one versus Houston, 45.7 against Atlanta, 41.8 against Miami, 61.8 against Miami, huge game there, and a 34.3 in his last 5 games. Tonight, he's projected to play 36 minutes against Philadelphia. He is a versatile forward. Versatile forwards, on paper, this is a tough matchup. Philadelphia ranking first in the league against versatile forwards. This is a back-to-back and also 3 games in 4 nights for Jeremy Grant. He's playing 36.5 minutes a night, averaging 1.14 fantasy points per minute, and his usage is above 25, which we love to see, 25.92. Now, if we take a look at this game total and the spread, Philadelphia is projected to score 112.5 points, Detroit 105.5 points, so that's like a 7-point spread. This game does have some blowout potential, so I probably would lean more toward playing the first half overs on the stars, the guys that you know are going to be heavily involved for their respective teams. So guys with high usage totals, guys with high fantasy points per minute averages. So there you have it on Jeremy Grant. The 39, they got him going under 39 tonight, but I do like him in a first half format. Let's talk Ben Simmons. He is projected to play for Philly tonight, unlike Joel Embiid. Mr. Simmons is projected for 41.06 points over on Roto Grinders. Let's open up his game logs real quick. 42.1 in his last one versus Boston, 35.6 in the first matchup versus Boston, 39.7 against Memphis, 44 against Miami, and 30 against Miami. I don't see a previous game log of Ben Simmons versus Detroit, so he hasn't played them or just hasn't played them recently. He's projected to play 35 minutes tonight, is a distributor. Distributor type point guards against Detroit have done well. They rank just 23 in the league against distributor point guards. This is a back-to-back for Ben. 3 games and 4 nights. He's playing over 33 minutes a game, 1.16 fantasy points per minute, and putting up 21.37 for his usage. I do expect his usage to go up. I do expect his fantasy points per minute to go up without someone like Joel Embiid in the lineup if Embiid does miss. So that's how I like Ben Simmons. The over looks pretty good for Ben tonight. Let's move on to the next game here. We've got Bam Adebayo in the Miami Heat taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Bam is projected for 43 points tonight. Let's see if that is a number that he can go over or under on. They like a slight over for Bam on Roto Grinders at 43.18. Let's look and see what he's been up to. A couple of disappointing games in his last 2, both against Toronto, 25.6 and then a 38.1. But if we go back to 3 and 4 games ago, 50.7 and a 52.4 against Detroit. I don't see a previous game log of Bam versus Brooklyn. So let's see how many minutes he's expected to play tonight. 34 minutes. He is a versatile big man. Versatile bigs against Brooklyn. Brooklyn doesn't seem to be posing much trouble for versatile bigs. They rank 29th, so almost dead last in the league against versatile bigs. This is a back-to-back and 3 games and 4 nights for Bam. He's playing just over 31 minutes, almost 32 minutes a night. 1.24 fantasy points per minute, so very respectable number there. And his usage is at 23.96, so almost 24 usage. Not elite, but very good, very strong, solid number there for Bam Adebayo. So looks like PrizePicks might be onto something with this 43. This may be a situation where you take a slight over or possibly fade altogether. But on the other side of this game, we don't have very many Brooklyn Nets to talk about. In fact, the only one that I see that is on the board right now is DeAndre Jordan, somebody that I don't think we've talked about once yet in these PrizePicks board breakdown videos for NBA, but we're going to talk about him right now. He's projected for 22 points tonight. Let's see where they have Mr. DeAndre Jordan. Go all the way down here. He's projected for 20.48. So that would be an under on his PrizePicks projection. Let's open up the game logs on Mr. Jordan, see what he's been up to. 20.3 in his last one against Cleveland, 22.8 in the previous game against Cleveland. And a bigger one here for DeAndre against Milwaukee, 34.9, 17.5, and then going back 5 games ago against New York, 32.4. Again, no previous game logs for DeAndre Jordan against Miami. But if we look across the board here, where'd he go? 24 minutes is his projected total tonight. He is a post-up big man. Post-up bigs versus Miami have not fared well on paper. Miami ranks 4th against post-up bigs. This is a back-to-back for DeAndre Jordan, 3 games and 4 nights. He's playing just 20.5 minutes per night on average, but puts up a pretty decent 0.95 fantasy points per minute. Of course, we like that number to be 1 or more typically. Those are the guys we kind of trust. And this usage rate is absolutely pathetic, horrendous, 12.02 usage. So he's not going to have his hands on the basketball. He's not going to be heavily involved in running any plays for DeAndre Jordan or anything like that. But kind of ugly there across the board for DJ. Now let's look at the game totals and spread. Brooklyn, 118.75 is a 7-point favorite at home versus Miami. So it's another game, guys, where there is blowout potential. Anytime there's like a spread of over 5, I kind of, it sets off an alarm. My spidey sense starts tingling and makes me just want to stay away from full game formats for any of these players involved in this game and stick to maybe doing like a first half over on some of the stars of this game. Kind of curious, though, why they don't have, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, any of the Brooklyn stars on here. They decided to throw us DeAndre Jordan. Okay, I don't get it, but whatever. Let's talk the next game. We've got Zion Williamson, New Orleans Pelicans forward, going against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That game tips off at 8:10 p.m. Zion, who has been projected around 40, 39, 38 even, is up to 42. He's been playing better basketball lately. Let's see how the projections look for him tonight against the Minnesota T-Wolves. They like Zion Williamson to go under by quite a bit, 39.02. Let's just round it down to 39, make it nice and clean. And look at his recent games here, 32.6, 43.5, 39.2, 40.4, and then his fifth game back against the Clippers, he did not play. So let's go one back further, 37.1. So he's been in that upper 30 to lower 40 range. So his projection tonight seems appropriate. I don't see a previous game log of Zion versus Minnesota in here. So let's look at the minutes tonight, 35 minutes. He is a versatile forward. Minnesota ranks 5th against versatile forwards. So on paper, not the easiest matchup. 2 games and 3 nights for Zion, playing almost 33 minutes a night, 1.13 fantasy points per minute, and his usage is 27.22. So love the fantasy points per minute, very strong. Usage also very strong, over the 25 usage mark is very good here. Looking at the game totals and spread, we've got New Orleans 114.5, Minnesota 106.5. So this game definitely has some blowout potential. This is another situation where if I'm taking Zion Williamson, I'm probably just taking him in a first half over type of format. I don't know that I feel totally confident that he gets, 4 quarters of game time, gameplay tonight. So that's how I'm feeling about Zion. If you're taking him, take him in the first half and go that way. But let's talk about the other side of the ball here. D'Angelo Russell. We didn't talk about him in the last video that we did. We talked Malik Beasley. Let's talk D'Angelo Russell. I think I took D'Angelo Russell, was it last night or sometime recently, and did not perform. I think it was last night. He just did not score the ball well whatsoever. Tonight, his projection is at 38. Of course, no Karl Anthony Towns, so Mr. D'Angelo Russell will be asked to do much more than he typically does. I think they've got him at shooting guard. Yep, shooting guard here on FanDuel Roto Grinders. He's projected for almost 37. Let's call it 37. 37 for D'Angelo Russell, so they like the under. If we look at his recent games, last night was a complete disaster, a dud. Against the Atlanta Hawks, played just 20 minutes. That game blew out. Minnesota got wiped out real quick in this game. 15.4, 37.4 in his previous game against Orlando. Going back against Atlanta again, 57.1. Well, where was that 57.1 last night against Atlanta, my friend? Nowhere to be found, apparently. And then going back 4 games against Memphis, 41.6, and 5 games back, 39.5 against San Antonio. I don't see a previous game log for him against New Orleans in here. So let's move on and see how many minutes they have him playing tonight. 33 looks to be the total. And of course, he probably got benched last night in the blowout, knowing that there would be a back-to-back situation where they would need to preserve him, rest him for tonight's game. So that's probably another factor why he didn't play very many minutes in a blowout. But he is a combo guard. Combo guards against New Orleans. New Orleans ranks just 18th against that type of player. This is a back-to-back, 3 games and 4 nights for Russell. He's playing almost 31 minutes a night. Minnesota's been getting blown out a lot, though, guys, so that probably factors into his minutes total for the season. He is putting up 1.13 fantasy points per minute, which is good, and a 31.16 usage rating. Love to see that. That is elite. Anytime it's 30 or more on the usage, you got to know that this guy is going to be heavily involved most nights. I mean, there's occasions like last night where he's not heavily involved, but I expect a bounce back for D'Angelo Russell tonight. But still, it's looking like if you're taking him in a full game format, take the under. I personally would probably just target him in a first half format only and probably take the over and hope that he comes back to life tonight. Let's move along to the next game. We've got the Golden State Warriors versus the Utah Jazz. And if we're talking Warriors basketball, we've got to talk Steph Curry. He's projected for 46 fantasy points tonight. So let's take a look at Roto Grinders and see how they like Mr. Curry. They got him at 41.48, guys. So that is a big under on Curry's projection of 46 tonight. So that's the kind of edge that gets my attention. When I see something like that, the light bulb goes off. It makes me perk up, stand up on my feet here, and I really like seeing that for Curry. The under looks good. His recent games, 41.6 against New York, 48.7 against San Antonio, 36.7 against the Lakers, 53.2 against Denver, and 33.3 against Indiana. So his last 5 games here, he hasn't been consistent. You know, down game here, even going back 6 games, 25, 33. Then you go up 53 and then back down to 36, 48, then 41. Not a guy that I trust, to be honest with you. I don't see a previous game log against Utah, so let's look at the minutes. Tonight, he is projected to play 34 minutes. They consider him to be a combo guard. Utah ranks 2nd against combo guards, one of the toughest teams in the league against combo guards. 3 games and 4 nights for Curry, playing almost 35 minutes, 34.4, 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Very, very good for Curry, and a great usage rating of 33.25. So we know that he is the heart and soul of this Golden State Warriors team. The ball is like always in his hands. He's getting tons of shots. He's heavily involved, and I expect more of the same tonight. But will this game stay close? Well, let's take a look. Utah is a 7-point favorite, so there's a 7-point spread here. So again, a lot of these games are in that 7-8 point spread that we've covered so far. There is some cause for concern. I don't know that I love Steph Curry here in a full game format, especially if you're trying to take the over. Probably not a good idea. This game does have blowout potential. So stick to playing maybe just first half only on Curry. And then you have to decide if you want to take the over or under in a first half format. But let's talk the other side of this game. Donovan Mitchell, the Utah Jazz swingman. Of course, if you've been paying attention to basketball, there's a viral clip going around where Shaq's getting in some shots, I guess you could say, on Donovan Mitchell, challenging him, wanting him to step up, saying that he's too little. He's too little to be elite. Well, Donovan Mitchell heard that, and I think he's going to take that, use that as motivation, and he might just take it out on the Golden State Warriors team tonight. Projection is 39. Let's see where they have him on Roto Grinders. They like a slight under, 37.19. Let's just round it down to 37. That'd put him 2 points under his projection tonight. His last game, though, against New Orleans, guys, like I said, I think he heard some criticisms. Put up a whopping 50.9 fantasy points. 2 games back, another matchup against New Orleans, 37.4, 37.1 against Denver, 41.6 against Atlanta, and 35.6 against Cleveland. No previous game logs against Golden State that I can see here. So let's move on to his minutes. Projected to play 35 tonight, is a combo guard. Combo guards have done well against Golden State. They rank just 20th against that type of player. This is 2 games and 3 nights. He's playing almost 34 minutes a night, 1.1 fantasy points per minute, and has a usage rating of over 31, 31.35 to be exact. So love the usage, love the fantasy points per minute. I expect him to come out, be motivated. I do like him in a first half format as well. As we already talked about, this game has blowout potential. If it gets deep into the game, fourth quarter, and the Jazz are up, I don't expect Mitchell to be out there logging big time minutes late in the fourth. So there you have it on him. Let's move along. We got to talk LA Lakers, Chicago Bulls, 2 of the most iconic teams in NBA history, facing off tonight at 9:10 p.m. We're going to talk LeBron James, whose projection tonight on PrizePicks is 49. Let's see how they like Mr. James on Roto Grinders for a comparison. They got him at 45.93, guys. That's close enough for me to say 46. Of course, he's been questionable for like the last 2 weeks, it seems like, maybe even longer, with that pesky ankle issue. But it hasn't really stopped him. It has kind of seemed to slow his production down somewhat, but in his last game against Milwaukee, he had to get up to face Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Milwaukee Bucks team. And he did, 56.2, played over 38 minutes in that one. But going back 1 game before that, played almost 38 minutes there, but only put up 30.5 fantasy points. So not very consistent in his last 2, but let's keep going back. 47, 41, and 41. So you get an idea here. In most of the games, he's been in the low 40 to mid 40 range. And he did have that outburst of 56, but also he had that low light of 30.5. Now, he did face Chicago back January 8th. And in that game, he put up nearly 43 fantasy points, ended up with 42.9. So we have that previous game log to look at. 34 minutes. That's his projection tonight. He's a versatile forward. Chicago ranks just 26th in the league, one of the worst teams in the league against versatile forwards. This is a 2-game and 3-night situation for LeBron. He's playing nearly 33 minutes a night, averaging well over 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Very good number there. And his usage is over 32, creeping up to 33. We love that usage rating for LeBron James. Elite usage rating. Gotta love it for LeBron. Let's talk game totals and the spread here. LA 117.75 is their projected score. Chicago 108.75. So as you can see, guys, Los Angeles, even though they're on the road, they're a huge favorite to win this game, and there is definite warning flags going off for a potential blowout. This is another situation. Play the first half if you don't feel good about this game staying close. Take the first half on a guy like LeBron. Take the first half on a guy like Levine, on a guy like Anthony Davis, and hope that those guys with the higher usage rates, with the higher fantasy points per minute averages, get there for you in a first half format. Let's talk a guy that you guys had mentioned, Lauri Markkanen. We haven't really talked Lauri Markkanen at all this season, so I want to mix it up, do something a little different. We'll talk Lauri real quick. He's projected for 31 against the Lakers tonight. Let's see where they like him on Roto Grinders. They got him at 31.21, so let's just round it down, call it 31. They're right in line with PrizePicks. Lauri, he missed most of the season here so far, but he has played in his last 4. So looking at the last 4 games here, this one against Charlotte, 27.4, 30.4 against Houston, 43.5 against Dallas, and then going 4 games back against OKC, 30.2. So you can see, guys, that he's around that 30-point range in 3 out of 4 games. And then that one game against Dallas, he had a big one, 43.5. So playing right around 30 to 35 minutes per night. That's what it's looking like for Mr. Markkanen. No previous game logs against LA to talk about here. But let's look at his minutes. They got him at 32 minutes tonight. He's a versatile forward, LA ranking 10th against versatile forwards. This is a back-to-back for Lauri. And then if we look at his minutes, he's playing just under 30 minutes per night, averaging 1.04 fantasy points per minute. And then his usage is at 23.15, kind of low. You'd like to see that go up a little bit more, but usually with big men, their usage ratings are usually a bit lower than guards, point guards, shooting guards, even small forwards. So that's not bad for a big man like Lauri Markkanen. We already talked about blowout potential. Will Lauri play big minutes in a blowout? He is a younger guy. He might, but looking at his game logs, he's been around that 30 to 35 minute mark in his last 4 games since coming back from injury. So I don't really like him as a target for playing late minutes, even if this game does blow out. But that's how I feel about Lauri. Victor Oladipo, I believe he was questionable. Let's see if he's on the board here for Roto Grinders real quick. He is. Okay, so let's talk Vic Oladipo then. Projection of 42 tonight for the Houston Rockets as they face the Dallas Mavericks at 9:10 p.m. Oladipo's had a great start to his new time and tenure here with the Houston Rockets. Been playing really well, but is questionable tonight. So he is projected for 39.94. Let's round it up and call it 40. That would be a good under for full game formats on Oladipo. Looking at his last few, 23.9 against Detroit. Very bad game there. 47 against Phoenix and a 50.5 against Chicago. Now, we don't have any recent game logs of him with Houston against Dallas. Heck, we don't even have any game logs of him when he was a Pacer against Dallas. So let's move on to the minutes here for Oladipo. I got him projected to play 33 minutes tonight. Not bad. He's a combo guard. Dallas ranks 3rd in the league against combo guards, so tough matchup on paper. This is a back-to-back, 3 games and 4 nights for Oladipo, so there was some talk that he may be rested tonight. Playing over 33 minutes per game, 1.14 fantasy points per minute, and his usage is very good, 28.54 anytime it's over 25. We love to see that. Love it, love it. As far as the game totals and the spread, well, guys, Dallas 114.5, big home favorites against Houston, projected to score 105 points as a team. So definite blowout potential here, guys, and especially if Oladipo sits, Dallas is going to run away with this game. So this is another game where I'm kind of cautious here with some of these guys and would only really feel comfortable taking the first half and taking the over on the first half. Now, we've talked tons about Luka Doncic. We haven't talked tons about Kristaps Porzingis. So let's talk Porzingis. I think he was also on the injury report. May play, may not play, but we're going to talk about him anyway and hope for the best. Let's see if he's on Roto Grinders. He is. And you can see the Q, which means questionable. So let's see. 37.5 is his projection for tonight. But in his last few games, he's been very good. 41.1, 51.6 against Indiana, 40.3 against Toronto, 35.6 against Chicago, and 30.5 versus Milwaukee. Do not see a previous game log against Houston, but he is projected to play 33 minutes tonight. He's considered to be a versatile big man. Houston ranks just 21st against versatile bigs. This is a back-to-back, 3 games in 4 nights. So this is another situation where Dallas is thinking about maybe resting Kristaps Porzingis on a back-to-back, 3 games in 4 night situation. He's probably not 100% fully up to speed yet. Only a few games in since returning from injury. So I could see Dallas possibly sitting this guy. He's playing just over 30 minutes, averaging 1.25 fantasy points per minute, and putting up nearly a 25 usage rating. So pretty good numbers from Kristaps Porzingis. But if he does play, guys, take the first half once again and take the over. That's the only way that I feel good about playing Porzingis tonight. Let's move along here. Nikola Jokic. A lot of guys had Nikola Jokic. I had some Jokic, both single stat, and I had him in a second half. Well, this game ended up going to overtime against Phoenix. They're facing off again for the second time in 2 nights. So it's a rematch between Denver and Phoenix. The only difference tonight, no Devin Booker for Phoenix. But let's talk Jokic real quick. He's at 54 tonight. 54. They've got him at 53.6 tonight versus Phoenix. Let's open up his game logs. Remember, this game last night did go to overtime, which really helped Jokic pad his stats. He ended up with over 60 fantasy points at 61. Game before that against OKC, 55.4, 68.3 against Utah, 60.8 against Golden State, and a 72.1. So he's been on fire, guys. I mean, 60 or more in 4 out of 5 games. And even the game he didn't hit 60, he still went for a double nickel, 55.4. So gotta love that. Let's take a look at how many minutes they have him playing tonight. 35 minutes. He's a versatile big. We know he does it all. Handles the ball, passes, rebounds, scores. I mean, you name it, he can do it. Phoenix ranks 13th against versatile bigs, but as of last night's game, you could see that this matchup is no problem for a guy like Jokic to get his. This is a back-to-back, playing over 35 minutes per night, putting up a massive 1.63 fantasy points per minute, one of the best fantasy points per minute players in the entire league, and 30.45 usage. So for a big man, he defies logic. Usually big guys don't have usage ratings of 30 or more, but Jokic is a special big man. We already know that about him. Now, no Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns tonight, but still, this game is projected to stay close. Denver just a 2.5 point favorite against Phoenix. So this is one of the few games on the board that doesn't look like it's going to blow out, at least on paper. So you could feel good about playing Jokic in first half. You could probably feel good about playing Jokic in full game formats. You can probably even feel good about playing Jokic in second half formats, which we don't talk a lot about. But as long as this game stays close at halftime, I mean, if it's close, well, play him in second half formats too, especially if it can, go to overtime like last night. That'd be great. But anyway, let's move on to the other side of the ball. One guy that I was really impressed with last night who did good things was DeAndre Ayton. Haven't talked a lot about DeAndre Ayton on the channel. 38 is his projection tonight. Let's see where they like Mr. Ayton. In this rematch against Denver, they got him at 38.76. That's enough for me to call it 39. Looking at his game logs, last night had a big one, 47.1. So that would be a big over on tonight's projection. An even bigger monster game of 63.9 against Houston 2 games ago. Going back 3 games, 41.7 here's a real bad one, 17.7, and another real bad one, 29.3, and another bad one, 33.4, and another bad one, 29.7. So as you can see, his last 3 have been much better than his last 7, we'll call it. Let's take a look at his minutes tonight. He is projected for 34 minutes of playing time. He is a post-up big man. Denver doesn't do so well against post-up bigs, as we saw last night, where Ayton absolutely destroyed them. They rank 19th against post-up bigs. This is a back-to-back, 3 games and 4 nights for Mr. Ayton, playing over 31 minutes, 1.12 fantasy points per minute, and his usage, pretty bad, under 18, 17.94 usage rate. So fatigue could be a factor for a big guy like Ayton. He could play reduced minutes. I know they have him at 34 tonight, but you got to think about it. Last night's game went into overtime. This is a back-to-back tonight, and it's 3 games and 4 nights. You know, before too long, fatigue is going to set in, and a guy like Ayton, who is a big guy with a big motor, I mean, you know, he could be zapped tonight. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays reduced minutes, or if this game, you know, wasn't as fruitful from a fantasy points perspective as it may seem. But that's just my take on things. You guys let me know what you think. That's going to do it for today's video. We're coming in at, this video's run just over 30 minutes. So 30 to 40 minutes seems to be the trend for me in these videos. But tell me who you're interested in that maybe we didn't get a chance to talk about in the video. Drop their name down below in the comments section. I love to read about guys that you're playing tonight. Tell me if you're taking the over. Tell me if you're taking the under. Tell me if you're fading them. Maybe there's a guy that you just want to completely avoid and not touch tonight. I'd be interested in hearing who that is. But guys, good luck tonight. I hope that you all win some money. And until the next one, this is CJ, Out of Bounds. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.